Hi there, everyone. My name is Helenique Argeroux, and you're joining me again for the Woman of Truth interview. Today, Tineke Rensen, a Dutch woman from the south part of Holland who has really done incredible things in the world of business. She's run a business as young as 25 years old. She now is actually bringing women together to have some powerful knowledge sharing and to actually share their expertise in a way where they can help develop their own businesses much more than before. So we are very happy to join her. I've seen her at many different women networking events and really felt that it was time to get to know a little bit more about what it really looks like to run many businesses as a woman and how you gather that knowledge and you bring it to share with other women. I thought this was a really good chance for us to get to know her wisdom and find out more about her. So welcome, Tineke. Really lovely to have you.
Thank you very much for this awesome introduction, Helenique. And shoot away.
Yeah, it's very exciting to meet a woman like you because we talk a lot about, women that have succeeded and women that are brave and courageous to run their own little shop, and you've really done that. So can you tell us a little bit about, your area of expertise, your area of knowledge right now in the world and what it is that you've really been busy with the last while?
Okay, well, going back to the beginning, I was 25 when I started my first business. And I had no business experience at all. I was just working for another business in the outdoor and survival industry. So we were taking people out hiking, kayaking, climbing, and I was facilitating that, working for this business. And I noticed that, there were quite some things that I would do differently. And I thought, well, why not do this on my own?
Wow.
Without any knowledge, no business experience. So I started very small and it started growing. I had no idea that it was exceptional what I did because I was working internationally from the first day on, because in Holland, if you know, it's flat. We have no mountains. So the outdoors in Holland is completely different. There's no whitewater kayaking, there's no mountain climbing and stuff like that. So I didn't realize that in the beginning, but I know now that it's a different way of doing business. The business grew, I grew in the business evolved, I started employing people, I started working with bigger partners. So, and after 22 years, I find that there was no more challenge for me. There was no expansion, there was no growth, the business didn't grow anymore. I didn't have the idea back then that it was because I needed external information. I was just doing everything I knew and at the level I was operating at, doing it bigger, faster, more, but nothing changed anymore. So I'm always growth driven, personal growth and business growth. So the challenge was gone for me. And when, I can be like, okay, I don't like it, fine. So I decided to sell it after 22 years. And then it took a while before I found out what I really wanted to do. There was a moment where I started to doubt, like, oh, well, what can I do? The only thing I can do is help people travel and help people get better in sports. I studied sports as well. So that was a nasty period about discovering myself and discovering my assets and what I'm good at. And so I had to do a lot of self-study, self-research. And in the end, I also had to discover me as a woman. I was always in a male industry. I did male sports. I was the national champion in whitewater kayaking in my country. I was in the national ski team. So, pretty extreme sports, usually dominated by men. So I had no idea that there was a feminine energy, that there was a woman inside of me. And I neglected that. Although I dressed like a woman and I was, I used makeup, but I didn't behave like a woman. I didn't feel like a woman. So that I didn't feel connection with other women either. To me, I looked upon them as many men do, not all, but depending on how they watch and look at women, I thought, they don't make decisions, they doubt, they keep themselves small in business. So I thought, what are they doing? So I rather worked with men until I started to develop all that feminine part inside of me. And then I started to realize, like, wow, you know, how strong we are and how many capabilities we have and how hard we try. So I started to look at it from a total different viewpoint. It's not, and there's a strong feminine part, and yeah, if we go in the victim part or if we go in the insecure part, what many women can do too, then it's of course not the strong part. But I could never see the strong part. I could only see the weak part of women. So I studied women in business, how they do business. I researched many, like you do now. You do a research. I did that about how women do business, and I wrote a report about that. And then actually my journey started in bringing women together, helping women to grow their business, because I now realize when there will be more substantial female businesses in the world, a lot of things will change. Yeah, I know you probably have heard of the expression, if the Lehman Brothers would have been the Lehman sisters, we wouldn't have had a financial crisis in the world. So
I haven't, but that's amazing.
Well, that's my strong belief, and I want to contribute in bringing strong female business owners together, because when they share their knowledge, when they share their network, they can grow much faster. Because I wasn't growing anymore, but I had no contact with other people who could tell me what I could change. So yeah, and that's probably why I do what I do now. I studied a lot of, I did many trainings, marketing, online speaking, finance, just to improve my business skills. And now it's 28 years, so quite a long time. And I have a few other businesses now. I have a coaching business where I help women to scale up and grow their business. And I have a network where I connect women who have a turnover of a minimum of 100,000 euros and the ones who want to do business internationally. Just because that's a different breed of entrepreneurship. You have different challenges, different issues. And yeah, it suits me, and it suits a lot of other women who are in the same position as I am and was. Because when we meet each other, we recognize the issues we have, we recognize what we need, and women always like to support each other. If they're in the feminine part, you know, not if they're in the nasty masculine part, because women can do that too. Then they're jealous, then they envy, and then they, you know, they criticize. They don't want to support other women. But the ones who really are in their feminine part, they love to support other women too. And yeah. So that's what I facilitate with my network, Powerful Business Women's Network, and that's what I do now.
Fantastic. You hit on so many beautiful points and so many relevant points to a lot of what Women of Truth is about and developing as well in the world. But I think worth mentioning are the three things you said about being in the toxic feminine energy, where we compete and we're jealous and we're envious, and we really learned a lot of that from being so much in the masculine role. I really think that's an important point. And also that you've really started tapping into the high profile, high earners, high achievers as women, and providing them with a platform and a way of exchanging knowledge. I think that's really excellent to know. So if anyone's watching and they're in that 100,000 profit bracket, they know that they can come to you. And as you say, I think it's quite true that there are very few places that they can go. The third thing I think you said was so powerful also is how you connect growth, personal growth, with external growth. You didn't say it directly, but I think knowing what you've been saying and knowing a little about you, reading a bit about you, you're saying that you know your growth is so important. And even when you stopped growing outside in the business, you knew that later on when you started growing internally, that could shift. So that's really powerful to get all that information from you. Is there one defining moment that you think really did it for you in your life, that taught you something significant?
I was talking about that yesterday to somebody, explaining I had a one-on-one training, social media marketing in London yesterday. So I flew up and down. I'm from Holland. And I was talking to her about my experience, why in regards to the online, many women can suffer from the belief that it's too difficult, computers, online stuff. I was the same. And I was at this online marketing training where they did step by step show you how to build your own website. That was a huge challenge for me, because before, when I employed people, I let them do everything about the website. If I wanted text to change, I printed out the text, I wrote it, and I said, okay, you need to change that online. I had no idea how to do that. And I didn't want to know. My vision was, I'm a business owner. I don't need to know everything. I have people who do that. But then my business, when I was sold, it was me. And when you are in business, you need to know a lot and you need to do a lot, especially when you're small. And there was one moment when I had I didn't have a laptop, so I had to borrow a laptop. This is 7 years ago. Because I went to my office and I had my computers there. When I was at home, I didn't work. So I there was an old laptop, and it crashed in the middle of the training. And I was so frustrated. I said, you see, I shouldn't have been here. And, I'm doing all this stuff. It's too difficult for me. You see, I shouldn't have done it. And in the victim. And then all of a sudden it worked again. And I opened my laptop and started working. So to catch up, because I was behind. And then some woman came from the organization and closed my laptop, because the rule was, when there was somebody speaking on stage, your laptop should have been closed because you needed to have attention. And I wanted to explain, like, yeah, but my laptop crashed and I need to catch up, otherwise I'm behind. And, all this fear of not being good enough. And then she didn't want to listen. And I really can't stand this kind of behavior, that you cannot go into discussion with somebody. She walked away, and I opened it. She came back and closed it again. And I got furious. I stormed out of the room. I was in the toilet, and I was mad, and I was furious, and I was crying. And then something happened, and I said to myself, what the are you going to make a laptop decide how you feel and how you act and what you want? So I stormed out of the bathroom. I went back, opened my laptop. There was a black screen. There was nothing. And I started typing. And people next to me said, what are you doing? It's not working. I said, I don't care. This laptop is not going to decide if I work or if I don't work. I don't care. I'm going to do it at home. And everything changed. And now I teach women to do social media. I can help them with setting up social media profiles. I can help them do the online marketing. I can help them do the email marketing. I know everything, and it's changed because of this. I knew nothing. I didn't want to know, and something happened. Outer situations shouldn't determine how you feel, how you respond, and that was a huge learning for me. Not only online marketing, but many other things in business too. Yeah.
How to take the power back and not let the outside world or your fears, technology.
Yeah. And I hardly ever have. There's no victim in me anymore,
Wow, fantastic. So that's something we're going to remember when we see women crashing, or laptops crashing, or technology becoming really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Your 8-year-old self, when you were really young, was a Tineke quite different, or maybe had some traits to what you have now? What would you tell her if you could look back and use all this wisdom and knowledge you have to your 8-year-old self? What would you tell her?
Interesting. Beautiful question. What would I tell myself being an 8-year-old? Don't worry so much.
Mm-hmm.
Things will work out. And I would emphasize the enthusiasticness, I don't know if that's a word, that I had, and the that I was very I don't know the word in English.
Zeeman in Nederlands.
In Nederlands we say onbevangen, vrij. I wasn't in a supportive area as a kid at all, because of the way my parents were and how they interacted together. Mm-hmm. But somehow, at a deep level, of course, it affected me tremendously. But on the upper level, probably I played, I don't know, but I was a happy kid. So I would say to myself, contain that and remain having that and stay like that.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So some of that natural freedom and enthusiasm you would really love to remind yourself to hold on to, and also
Yeah.
don't worry so much, right? So
Yeah.
you know that we've
Yeah.
spoken now a lot about women and there are different ways of being in business, and certainly you know and you coach and you've seen so many different versions of that. So I was wondering, and it's really the reason we're doing these interviews, or that I'm really interested in doing them, is what you think the biggest lie is that women live with before they hit that wisdom and that self-learning and that personal growth that really frees them out of victim mentality, out of fear, you know, and even still they challenge. What's the biggest lie you think women live with?
That we're not good enough.
Yeah. Like we're kind of lesser than, or we're not so immediately ready and what the world wants somehow. We're almost lesser than something like this.
And that we criticize, and therefore we criticize each other, or ourselves. So we see everything we do wrong and we criticize ourselves.
And what's the biggest truth from that you now know?
That you have to love yourself and have to be gentle and sweet and loving with yourself. Even if you see all the things you can improve, don't bash yourself, don't criticize yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, what are your thoughts about the rise and the awakening of women in the world? There are so many movements, so many networks, so many events. They've been there in different forms throughout time, but something seems to be happening right now. What would you say about that?
I love it. And the more we do it and the more there is, let's not go into the role that the world is doing things wrong. That's blaming and shaming.
Very
But
powerful.
please, let's all go into the role from our own force, our own inner wisdom, the shaman that we all are inside of us, and see where we can connect the various networks that are. Because I do agree. There's so many initiatives happening right now, and help women, but not see them as victims who need help, but see them as strong persons who just need to recover that again or something. Because I get questions sometimes, what needs to change in your environment to support women? And I think, we need to change. We need to step in our femininity, in our powerful femininity and the masculine, and have it both together. And that's what needs to happen. And we don't need to be pampered, or they don't need to be so that's my my vision.
Very powerful and very on point. I think it's something to shift in us as well, not to look at ourselves as incapable of or lesser than as we do the fixing, but to actually just re-empower and reclaim some of our own power that's already there. So I know you wrote a book, Tineke, and I wanted to know what is the main powerful message in that book that you think hasn't been heard before? And then how can women get in touch with the book so that they can learn more about it and more about you?
Okay, two questions. The main thing is that it's a very practical book. The thing women lack often is that they lack focus. And we are very sensitive, so we see, hear, feel a lot. And we want everything to be right. So we feel that we need to act on everything what is going on. So therefore we are everywhere, and we have no clear focus and clear direction and intention. That's very masculine, by the way. So we can learn that. And what the book does is very practical, which is masculine. And teaches you a lot of steps about the things in business we think are difficult, such as planning, such as focus, such as targeting, such as how to do your financial plan. But also how to cope with your team, if you have one. But even if you're on your own, you work with a team, because you always need people to do something. so it's an 8-step blueprint. The blueprint for a successful business makeover. It covers 8 areas. The most important is mindset. And then it goes from practical to how, and also how you scale up your business. Many women find that difficult. How do I systemize? How do I create structures so that you have a foundation and then you can grow? Because if you just grow and there is no strong foundation, the grow will kill you. And that's how to scale up. And a very important thing for me is how to do that relaxed. So how can you not be in your head all the time? How can you not stress and have tremendous to-do lists? But how can you do that from excitement, from joy, with flow, and from ease and power, but within inner power? So it's very practical. A lot of my own advice, experiences, checklists, exercises, but on the other hand, also feminine in a way that take it easy, flow, everything will be okay. So
very valuable how you brought those.
Let me show it. Here it is.
Maximum business growth for women. Download the free stuff at the website. 8 secrets from a national champion to accelerate your business. Tineke Rensen. Beautiful.
So when people go to the website, they can buy it. You will have a link. It goes to Amazon. You can find it on Amazon as well. And,
well, I like those 8 practical steps. Definitely how to structure and systematize business is something that I think a lot of us struggle with, especially the creative types, and I'm one of those. So I can see it being very useful for women that need a template or a roadmap on how to cover some of those areas that they're really not naturally skilled at doing. 3 words from you, Tineke, to close our interview that are like a call out, like a prayer to all the women not watching who would never have a computer. To all the women watching that do have a computer but don't get your video, to all the women that are watching this video and they really want to remember you with these 3 words, what would they be? And they can be separate or they can be connected, as you like.
Can it be 3 sentences?
Yes, go for it. We haven't had 3 sentences. Why should we stick to the norm? Let's break it.
Always believe that no matter what situation you are in, it will get better.
It will get better.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So believe in yourself. Another thing is you determine how you want to respond to what's happening around you, and you're more powerful than you believe. You're powerful beyond.
So you're more powerful than you believe. You get to decide how you respond to what's going on around you, and believe in yourself.
Oh jeetje. Okay, the first one. No matter what situation you're in, how bad it is, it will always
get better. Yeah. Excellent. It's been so wonderful to talk to you. And I think it's really nice for us all to know that we have you in the world watching our back. When we get really large, expanded, famous, and wealthy at 100K, we know that there is a network that we can also believe into and expand into there. So that's a really nice, ambitious way to motivate ourselves. And I look forward to knowing more about you. And if you can give us all the information about the book, we'll put it on this video so people can go and find that on Amazon. Thanks so much, Tineke. Have a lovely day. And it's been wonderful to spend time with you.
Thank you so much for this beautiful interview and for the excellent questions.
Yeah, they've been fun to ask. And
they've never been asked to me, so thank you. I like it.
Pleasure. I also enjoyed sharing and hearing from all these different women from around the world on these questions. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be speaking to many more women, so keep watching these videos, and thanks so much for your support. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.